at this. Okay. Okay. So, tell us a little bit about this story, Rachel.
Well, Sophie is 20 months old, and in March, it's now May, and in March she...
March what?
March 17th, she got outside and fell in our pool, and so we were able to do some CPR at the scene, and then the paramedics got there, the firemen, and they hadn't gotten a pulse by the time they got to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So it took about 25 minutes to get a pulse. And then they rushed her to another hospital in LA, and she was in the ICU there for about a week, and then she was moved to another hospital. And she was there for 30 days, and now we're here in a rehab facility.
How did you find Healthbridge?
It was recommended by our case manager, who's helping us.
Fabulous. This is a wonderful, wonderful facility. It's like unusual and one of the best.
Yeah.
This is Dad over here. Smile. And Uncle. Yes. So we have a good support and a good family support.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can climb on the bed,
Absolutely.
Right? Hi, Sophie. So how old is Sophie?
She's now 20 months.
Hi, Sophie. Okay. So how long do you think Sophie was in the pool?
It was 5 minutes or less.
5 minutes or less. Sophie, there's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do. Is she on anti-seizure medications?
No.
Fabulous.
No, luckily we haven't had that to deal with.
Okay, you can go ahead and lie her down.
She actually prefers to.
Oh, she prefers
But if you,
no, then I can work with her. Well, first I'd love to just explore.
Sure.
Okay.
You put the bed flat? Or?
You could put the bed in any position. The nice thing about the Feldenkrais method, as I always say, we can work in any position that works for the person, including jumping out of an airplane with a parachute. So that was our way of bragging about that. It's about everything.
Yeah.
It's about everything.
Okay.
So, now, is she always so easygoing?
No, she got some meds about an hour ago.
Okay.
So she got, and
What kind of meds?
she got baclofen,
Uh-huh.
Valium,
Ah.
yeah,
Oh.
and another dantrolene. That's another.
So without baclofen, she's pretty
More
spastic?
toned, yeah.
Yeah, more toned.
Yeah.
Okay, so baclofen, but no, she doesn't have a baclofen pump. She's just taking
Right.
baclofen.
Yeah.
But does she have it? Okay, baclofen is for
Muscle relaxant.
muscle relaxant. That's true. We'll call it almost more antispasticity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because people like you and me wouldn't take it as a muscle relaxant.
Right,
So I just
exactly.
want to
No,
be
it's
clear
very
on that.
strong.
It's
Yeah.
And
And she's weaning from things right now, so.
now, does she have a neurologist and or a neurosurgeon?
The last visit we had was in the
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of
Hospital.
baclofen. Sorry,
I know.
didn't mean to
No, I know.
be so vocal.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
A lot. We're trying to get her off everything.
So she doesn't see Dr. Mahonen or Dr. Loudon?
No.
Okay, so as a huge challenge, what I'd like to do, maybe, is come when she's not on anything.
I know.
Right? Because I want to actually start working with patterning her
Okay.
right away.
Okay.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense? And we're going to get her down on the mat, on the floor, and we're going to start crawling. We're going to start scooching, we're going to start rolling, we're going to start all that. Not in that order of crawling, but I'm just saying everything for preparation for that.
Sure.
And it's not easy to do when the muscles are highly toned, but it's a whole lot easier to do when they're highly toned than when they're not toned.
They're not
because
communicating with the brain.
not quite communicating
Yeah.
with the brain, yeah.
Right.
So this gives me some feedback. Now, how did you meet Caleb's mother?
An occupational therapist here and a physical therapist told me about Caleb because he was in this room and had, at the same age, had a similar accident. accident. So.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And you know about him, right?
Yeah.
He's doing great.
He's doing great.
So now you know there's great possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was only in for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know that I say only in for 5 minutes, but that's... I've seen in for 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So what do you notice about her awareness capabilities?
Well, as we've been weaning for minutes, she's becoming more and more alert. We wish we'd started that process a little sooner, but we didn't know. So after I spoke with Caleb's mom, she gave me a clue about that. And I started doing some research into what she was taking. So we've been able to get her a lot of the things she was on, but she's moving her mouth more. Before she would just clench her jaw. She's turning her head. She used to be so spastic that her heart rate would stay in the 180s, and her entire left side is a lot more tense than the right. And when she really tones, she leans toward this side, but most of the time now, she'll keep her head kind of in midline. It used to be, it was almost glued to her shoulder. You could not, there's no air going through her neck there. Her legs used to be very, very toned, and her arms were less toned. And she got ill. There was something going around here that everyone got, and she got sick. And after that, it switched. So her arms became really tight, and her legs loosened up a little bit. I don't know how that works.
When was that?
Beginning of May.
And so that's how definable her little nervous system is, meaning that it took an impact of a flu or a virus or whatever to affect her nervous system and create a new pattern. So now that being said, I'm going to look at that in terms of maybe that's how easy it'll help us to make new patterns, right? If she can make a new pattern in that realm, then maybe she'll be able to make the new patterns that we're going to be teaching her.
Okay.
But what I'll be doing is I'm going to be teaching you guys how also to work with her again and again and again and again. And you'll be working with her. That's why we're making these videos, so you can go back and watch, and you'll be working with her all the time. You'll hug her and you'll love her and you'll play with her. And with that, you'll know how you're touching her at the same point. Does that make sense? So maybe my voice was too loud. She reacted a lot to sound.
We don't think she sees much right now, although she sees light and dark, but her hearing appears to be pretty perfect.
Okay, so